Critical hit Punch All Nazis takes place in the early days of World War II and combines high adventure with cosmic horror. All dates, locations, and historical events are thrown out the window in order to create a fun story, so don't put too much thought into historical inaccuracies. All accents are done poorly, but with love, and no disrespect is intended. This week's episode also contains scenes of smoking, and we would like to remind you that smoking is not good for your health. Last time on Critical Hit. He doesn't know whether he should say something now or take it to his grave.
We are on the side of the Black Sun not having access to this.
Because the Key of Solomon is very dangerous. I'm counting on you. You see a ginger-haired kid poke his head around the corner and sees you driving off. You are on the road driving a stolen car, and you're going back to where? So just kind of to keep in mind, you were in Brussels. Mm-hmm. The Section M facility is in the southern part of Belgium. The path that you are using currently to return home will take you past the American observational outpost space. If you needed to decide for whatever reason to stop there, you could do that. But it's going to take you on the path that you're traveling about an hour to get back to Section M. And roughly 10 minutes have passed since you, I'm guessing, Bug Eater picked up Valentino and
Dutch
at the park. What did you do with your machine gun?
Oh.
We moved it.
Oh, we stowed it in the alley, didn't we?
I know that's what you did with the car that you were driving, the one that was issued to you. I didn't know if you left the machine gun in that car or not.
Okay, who last had that machine gun?
It was Bug Eater.
Why would it have been Bug Eater? I was the only one who didn't use the machine gun.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Wasn't there some talk of draping a coat over it?
Yeah, that's why I thought we took it, because we talked about like hiding it.
All right,
and in fact, somebody made a joke about getting a violin case.
Yeah, that's me.
So, is it in the car with you?
Yeah, we probably put it in the back.
Okay, Rob, if you would roll me a Insight plus vehicles check.
Oh boy,
you can use cars as your focus on this.
I would hope. So.
2 successes. Aww. Very good.
Neither of those is a crit.
None of those is a crit, but that's okay. You've got 2 successes. So you're driving along, and it is dark. The sun has gone down. The street lights of Brussels are now in your rear view mirror. And what do?
Are we heading back?
Doolittle kind of implied that he wanted us to keep the Americans in the loop. So maybe we can swing by it. Well, but then again, like, is that going to cause problems if people see us? Because as far as people are concerned, we got kicked out of the army. So I don't know. Should we go back and tell them about this or just skip it?
I mean, going back does blow our cover.
Okay. Well, if nobody feels strongly about it, then let's just head back to Section M.
All right. What else are you guys talking about on your way back?
So anyone have any thoughts on that little poem there?
Well, it sure seemed cryptic.
Yes.
In the land of the ancients where the stars align, 8 artifacts of power shall the portal bind. 1 to speak with spirits is found in the crypt. 1 to shield from harm, 1 hidden in the ship. 1 to reveal secrets and 1 to unlock charm. 1 to control elements, 1 in plain sight. The last will be the hardest to be obtained from open fight. Together they hold the key to unlock the gate to Carcosa's twisted fate.
off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that these are. So clearly we need to do a lot more research if any of this is supposed to be ringing a bell. Definitely for me, it's not.
Bug Eater or Doc?
I mean, Brian has a vague thought, but not sure. Should be a known thing that possibly Valentino.
Okay.
In the land of ancients where the stars align,
Mm-hmm.
like, isn't there like something about the Great Pyramids aligning to some constellations? I don't know if it's the Big Dipper or what.
So that's Brian knowledge or Valentino knowledge?
I'd say, I mean, that's Brian knowledge. I don't know if that would be Valentino knowledge or not. That's.
How about you roll a reason plus academia?
Right. Okay.
And this will be a difficulty of 3.
Ooh.
To see if this is something Valentino would know. Now, again, you can lower that with momentum because you still have 3 momentum because the adventure that you have started is not over yet.
Okay.
And you can also give me threat.
Well, I think I will use 1 momentum to get 3 dice. And with reason and academics, I am rolling against 14.
Okay.
That's not terrible.
Oh, dang. But those rolls kind of are.
Yeah, you only have 1 success. So
yeah.
Here's the thing. Valentino, the character, seems to recall, because your background is more in academic stuff, right?
Yeah.
You seem to recall at one point going through the library and remembering that the pyramids somewhat aligned to something. But that was like 6 or 7 years ago, and you were in a hurry. And so you don't remember the exact details, but you remember pyramid something. You saw it in a National Geographic, or maybe it was an astronomy magazine, or a Weird Tales.
Yeah. The only thing I even have, even the slightest inkling that could be anything, like maybe lands of the ancients, the pyramids, like I feel like there's something about those aligning in some way. Perhaps that has something to do with the land of the ancients and the stars aligning.
Mm-hmm. You mean in Egypt?
Yeah, again, it's just the barest niggling of a thought.
All right. Well, I don't know. Section M might have a research division or something, a library. Maybe we can look it up.
The land of ancients sounds like anywhere where there'd be ruins, so could also be Greece or Rome, right?
Could be just pretty much anywhere.
Riddle looked like he would have been from these parts, so
yeah,
assume
but
most of these things are. Oh.
Yeah, he didn't come up with the rhyme though. The rhyme was taught to him.
Well, he said it was like a family thing, didn't he?
I guess.
He specifically said that it was handed down from father to son through this organization.
Right.
Through the secret organization. And he also said, if you remember, that he tried to call another member of the organization and that person has also gone missing or wasn't answering, or he seemed very distraught by that.
Yeah.
Okay. Rob, would you please roll the same roll that you had, again, this time difficulty 3?
Sure. Would any of my talents pertain to this? The Born to Drive or the Off-Road?
Yeah, I mean, probably let's try Drive All Night and see if that will work. Let's see. When attempting a vehicle skill test to operate a vehicle,
3 or higher. I may spend up to 3 momentum to reduce the difficulty by 1 or 2 or 3.
Yep. And Brian, you spent a momentum, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So there's 2, I think.
I feel like I should just spend a momentum to add a die.
Okay. The difficulty of 3.
Because increasing the complication range sounds problematic.
Okay.
Hey!
All right. You got 3 successes. Wow. Very good. All right. So you guys continue to drive for a little while longer. You have gone far enough to where you have passed the observation base, the U.S. observation base. You've got another 35 or 40 minutes to get to Section M.
I feel like there's something there that we're just not looking at. And I feel like, this is clearly some sort of dark, eldritch, evil thing from beyond the pale. But I don't understand why no one will say that. Why won't anybody talk about that? Why are we not discussing the monster in the room? I mean, it had a human face on top of its freakish, amorphous head.
So go back over the events of what was the reaction of Section M in regards to the creature. Tell us everything you remember about Section M and their reaction to this.
Well, they've clearly dealt with them before.
Okay.
Because they referred to it as a creature rather than the creature.
Mm-hmm. What else did they say?
They said it was a shagos.
Did they seem overly freaked out by it?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. There was also something else that they said.
That I don't recall.
That it used to be a person.
They didn't say that.
I don't recall. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Brigadier Fennessy had mentioned that they believe that these are the things that were used to help the Nazis roll into and take over Poland as quickly as they did.
Shock troops. And so they've faced them before, and they have specific.
And if you also think back to his reactions to the book that Valentino had, General Eisenhower doing his General Eisenhower thing, Section M seems pretty savvy to all the magics.
Then why doesn't everyone know? I mean, if these things were fighting in the European front, why wasn't this in the newsreels? Why wasn't this in all the newspapers? Who's covering this up?
I mean, those monsters are actually invisible, so they might be in the newsreels.
Why do you think, so everybody just speculate for a minute, why do you think that everybody is keeping the magic stuffs, the weird things, quiet?
They're basically for the same reason that they were keeping the atom bomb quiet, and
they don't want the enemy to know.
Yeah, you just don't want the enemy to know what you have, and so it's like an espionage thing.
What has historically been reactions to people that display magical powers or summoning demons or whatever?
Not great.
They become beloved healers and centers of the community.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, they certainly become pillars of the community in that they're tied to a pillar and burned.
Oh.
So there may be a reason why, and maybe not so much for Bug Eater, maybe not so much for Dutch, or maybe not so much for you two. But Valentino grew up in the South. Doc has spent a lot of time in the Arkham area. And you've heard about backwoods folk spinning their magics, calling up all sorts of haints and ghouls and specters. And that kind of stuff is really frowned upon by society in general. And it is something that you don't talk about. And it is something that, that's something you scare your children at night so that they behave and go to bed and have pleasant dreams. This is not something that, I mean, sure, everyone kind of speculates, oh, sure, maybe there's ghosts. And yes, we've seen magicians do some really cool things on stage. But the real magic is kept secret. So if you think, why aren't people talking about this, is because there's a very good reason not to talk about this. Partially because of the backlash that magic users have had over the years, the negative connotations, maybe the people that know about the true magics and wanted to speak out no longer exist. And then also, as Rodrigo said, you don't want the enemy to know what's going on. And so weaponizing magics and monsters seems like a pretty good thing to do. Now, maybe learning a little bit more about the factions beyond what you've learned could be helpful. Figuring out what Section M knows, what they don't know, Certainly that's what Majestic wants, or what will become Majestic. What Roosevelt and Eisenhower and Hoover want is they need more proof that this magic stuff exists.
Okay. I wonder if that's what happened to Houdini.
No, he got punched in the gut and died.
That's the story. That's what they say.
So historically, because Lovecraft is not part of the universe that this game resides in, that would be really too weird. But he did work for Houdini for a while. He wrote a short story that Houdini commissioned him to write.
That's interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Rob, roll again. Difficulty 4.
Wait.
I'll use a momentum again
Okay.
to get an extra die.
Do we know why this is getting harder?
Because
4 successes.
Bug Eater's falling asleep.
Wow,
at the
4
wheel.
successes. Very good. Very,
Focus
very
cars. No. If it was me falling asleep, I have an entirely different thing for that.
Oh, okay.
good. Yeah, he would
Like,
be suffering.
like-
He would be suffering fatigue.
He's
And I don't for
dodging.
driving.
He's dodging all the invisible Shoggoths.
Maybe I should be rolling instead of Rob.
You probably should. Yeah.
If as a game master, you can't rely on the players failing or succeeding in rolls
Right.
a lot of the time, because they will just do exactly the opposite.
Oh, I've
what
learned
you're
that
hoping
already.
for.
I've already learned
Yeah.
that six sessions already, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
because
will unglue themselves from time.
So you are now about 20 minutes from Section M.
Yeah. So here's what I'm saying, right? That movie has like a cauldron and a rhyme, and it only came out very recently. So maybe Disney's one of them.
that's an interesting point.
I
With
mean,
the broom?
we got to look at all that stuff now.
The broom.
Who's in on it? Probably the people that are like in the know. And it's like this Disney guy was like nobody, and all of a sudden he puts out this movie. Maybe that's magic too.
But if Eisenhower is one,
Yeah.
do you think that means that the president is one?
I mean, the president seems to employ them, and also
What-
are we ones? Or do you like explicitly mean like are they a sorcerer or in on the conspiracy?
Well, I presume the president was in on it. I meant, is he with the magic?
I mean, maybe. Valentino, are you with the magic? Did you get anything from that book?
Not that I can recall. Now, one of our former companions, they seem to have some kind of mojo that was going on before he got it.
Yeah, a lot of good it did him.
Yeah.
Well, simply having the magia doesn't necessarily mean that you can use it. I wish we'd gotten more time to look at the book.
Maybe we can requisition it.
Interlibrary loan.
Rob, one more time. Difficulty of 4.
Okay,
use
so
momentum again.
All right.
Do we have any more momentum?
You have one more.
Yeah, because he's been hitting it by more than one, so he's been replenishing our 2 momentum.
Maybe he's been able to
this-
reduce the difficulty as well.
That's what I'm considering. Yeah, we'll do the Brian suggestion. Oh God, that sounds terrible.
19s.
You want to lower the difficulty by 1?
Yeah. I'm going to use a momentum to add an extra die, and I'm going to use a momentum to lower the difficulty by 1.
Okay. So you have no momentum left.
4 successes.
Hey, you didn't roll complications.
Nope, no complications. So, all right.
And I got a momentum back.
You have pulled up to the gate of Section M, and you are ushered inside and signaled to move your car over to the garage.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry,
Cruise.
the garage. So you pull into the garage, and the headlights of your car fall upon a brown sedan that has bullet holes in it, and fenders ripped up, and windows shot out. And it's standing there, and you can tell that the head mechanic, when he sees you pull up, he is not happy at all. He is not happy to see you at all. You can tell that is the car that you That is the car you left behind in that alley.
Wait, how is that here?
Well, presumably,
Ask
they've
somebody.
got somebody working for them in the Belgian police force.
Yeah, I asked that out loud. How
Oh,
is
you asked
yeah.
that out loud.
Yeah.
I answer that out loud.
Okay.
Like, presumably, they've got somebody working for them in, like, the Brussels police force. But, hey, maybe we can ask. So I'll get out of the car. I'll
Oh,
wave
it's
at the
you,
mechanic. Yeah, it's us.
Can't believe you want to show your faces here. After what you've done to my beautiful car.
Well, we didn't do this to the car. And also, you should have seen the other car.
Why didn't you just drive this car back? A redheaded kid drove it to us and dropped it off.
Oh, well, that's nice of him. How did he know to bring it here?
I have no idea. I'm sure the commander will want to know and have a word with you. He said he took a shorter route to get here.
Clearly.
And
Hey.
where did this car come from?
We stole
pointing
it.
to he's been chewing on a cigar, and he just chews so hard that the cigar just bites in half and falls onto the ground. You what? You stole it?
Yeah.
He walks over to the phone, picks it up, dials. You really can't make out what he's saying, but you just hear,
I can barely make out what he's saying as it is.
Yeah. He hangs up the phone. The brigadier wants to see you.
Okay.
All right.
Walk up a couple of flights of stairs to the brigadier's office. I don't know, you're in his outer office.
Okay.
His secretary is there typing on the typewriter. The minute that she sees you, she just stops and she looks over the top of her glasses at you. You know, that very disapproving look
Mhm.
that women and men do when they have their glasses down on their nose and they just look at you like you're in trouble.
Mhm.
She pushes a button. They're here. And you hear the brigadier, send them in. You may go in now.
We'll go in.
All right.
So,
Close the door behind
seems
us.
to have
presumably.
oh yes, definitely. You seem to have had a bit of an adventure.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess you could call it that.
Can you tell me why you stole a car? You do realize that we are in this country as guests? That stealing citizens' cars in the middle of the night is not proper. You could very easily get us kicked out of this country and ruin everything that we are working towards. Why did you steal the car? And his just like his face is like red, and he's trying to keep his composure.
Well, because the wizard busted up our old one.
We'll get to that in a moment. Why didn't you call? Or why didn't you just take public transportation back?
Back to your secret base?
Well, they're a building in the city.
Oh.
It's not a super secret base.
I suppose we thought that if anybody recognized us from the altercation, then they could potentially follow us back to here. You're right. We should have called. But, you know, it was late. Maybe it was impolite.
Not in this case. Please, in the future, think about where you are. Think about who you represent. And unless it's an extreme, urgent matter, try not to steal any bleeding vehicles from our allies and friends.
So you're saying if it's an extreme circumstance, we could do that?
Yes, in an extreme circumstance.
Like
This
how
was not-
extreme? Like a Zeppelin lands in the middle of a soccer field and a wizard and two other agents are shooting at us?
Because that's what happened.
And the person
And then we meet like possibly a third wizard or a second wizard who then tells us a super secret rhyme and he's part of a secret organization.
Slow down. What is this? Now, you went to this address. Tell me everything.
Oh, well, you're the one who keeps wanting to start the debriefing backwards.
And he pinches the bridge of his nose. Give me the strength.
All right. So we had one clue, right? Montag to go. And then this place was highlighted. And that place turned out to be an occult bookshop and, you know, curiosities and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that we had plenty of time because we thought that meant that they were going to hit that place on Monday. But in fact, turns out that Montag is the name, or more likely code name, or one of the Nazi operatives. Because him and another man named, what was the other one named?
I think it was
Monday and Tuesday, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I don't remember what Tuesday is.
No.
Dienstag. Okay. So another one named Dienstag was there as well. And then they kidnapped the shop owner. So we tried to save him. We got him away from them, but he had already been hurt pretty badly with magic.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe these gentlemen? Wait, can you describe these gentlemen, this Montag and Dienstag?
Yeah, so one of them was like very round, and then the other one was skinny. And they had a mustache like this. And one of them was wearing like a hat, and the other one was wearing this type of hat.
Were there any insignia on their clothing?
None that we noticed.
He nods to the secretary, who you didn't realize was standing in the room with you. And she nods her head, turns around, and leaves. Why would they want to kidnap a bookstore owner?
May I? And I'll just, if he has like a pad of paper and a pen, I'll like draw the like dotty cross symbol.
Okay.
He's part of some organization that uses this as a insignia. He had this on the outside of the shop, so it was plain to see. But his organization seems to have some knowledge of what the Nazis seem to be after, which is, and I'll like kind of stage whisper to him, some kind of place named Carcosa.
Are you sure that they weren't looking for Carcassonne? Because that is in the south of France.
Oh, he checked specifically if that was what they meant.
Carcosa. You see him writing this down on his pad. Did the man say anything?
Yes, he said that things were in the works now and that his organization was under attack. And then
what is the name of the organization?
I'll tell him it's the Luminaries, but like, because like the Luminaries is like also itself like a pretty normal common concept, right? So I'm like the Luminaries, but I don't know what to do with that. Right? It's like any what I want to say, like any field has its luminaries, right?
The secretary comes back in and walks over and hands a piece of like a manila folder to the brigadier. And he opens it up and is reading it. And he's like, Okay. Go on. What else?
What else? We chased them all the way to the soccer stadium or football stadium. And there was a Zeppelin there. And rather than try to chase them or prevent them from getting on the Zeppelin, we recovered the shopkeeper whose name is Riddle. And then we took him back to his shop. And then before he died, he told us of our organization. And he said that his family had passed down a rhyme that was now relevant, presumably because it's some cryptic clue to finding this place.
This Carcosa.
Boys, am I missing anything?
Not that I remember.
There was a rhyme.
Yes.
A riddle by a man named Riddle? How do you know this man wasn't just pulling your leg?
We don't. Well, so we suspect that he wasn't on account of being kidnapped by magic Nazis.
He seemed awfully earnest about it.
Yeah. In fact, we found, and Doc over here treated him like he was dying, and he told us this stuff. So he's a hell of a prankster. If he told us this with his last breath, just to have a chuckle.
I feel like the mortal wounds were probably the step that made me believe him most.
Carcosa, a riddle. Does that mean anything to any of you?
I'll steal his pad again And then I'm a civilian now. I'm having fun with this.
Well, I mean, technically you still work for the U.S. government.
I know.
You are
I know.
assigned to Section M.
I'll grab his pad again and start writing down the riddle.
He picks it up. He looks at it.
I don't. So I'm breaking it up. Basically, I'm breaking up the stanzas or like the verses, each one that talks about like one. So I'm like, I don't know if they're supposed to be like, if like the way that this is written matters, but so it's like in the land of ancients where the stars align, 8 artifacts of power shall the portal bind. Line break. 1 to speak with spears is found in the crypt. Line break. 1 to shield from harm, and so on.
He looks at this. There's not a lot to go on.
No.
Do we know why they want Carcosa?
Didn't seem like it was for anything good.
The shopkeep seemed very intense about it. It's clearly a place of great meaning to someone. To the point where he didn't even want us saying it out loud around him.
Does anyone remember what the luminaries were locking away in Carcosa?
I didn't write it down in my notes.
I'll give you a freebie here at the cost of 1 thread.
Sure.
It is the Key of Solomon.
Oh, yeah. I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember now. It's the Key of Solomon. It's like some sort of demon book.
Well, that is troubling. Key of Solomon, from what I remember as a child, was King Solomon created it, obviously, to control spirits and demons and to grant him great wealth and success. But that was a child's tale, wasn't it?
I thought that monsters and wizards were children's stuff, but here I am and here you are.
Quite. He nods to the secretary, who disappears again right out the door. He opens up the manila folder and he shows you 2 pictures. One is a thin man with glasses and a mustache. He's very, very thin and gaunt. And the other is a rather tall, bulky man, well over 6 feet tall. The suit that he is wearing seems very, very tight. He also has glasses and a mustache. Do these look like the gentlemen you encountered?
Yeah, this is them. They also had a third man with them, but he died, I think.
Well, these 2 are members of the Black Sun. And they are, from our records, rather high-ranking as far as their magic users. They usually go out into the field to oversee novices, new initiates into their order. And we have heard word that they have been all over Europe these last 3 months.
Okay.
And the names are indeed Montauk and Deanstock. They are, from what we can tell, powerful wizards and probably should be avoided whenever possible, unless you are prepared to counter their magical abilities.
Oh, you don't have to tell us twice. If we had the option, we wouldn't have dealt with them at all. They're also they're serious. Like, they opened, their guy that they brought with them opened fire on us out in the middle of a street. They're not joking around, and they're not necessarily trying to keep things that quiet.
The Black Sun are rather heavy-handed with their methods.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Let's see. Car chase, Zeppelin. I think we got everything.
Oh, yeah. He holds up a newspaper and says, yes, you did make the papers.
Yep. Sorry about that.
So, if we are to keep our activities out of the public knowledge, it's in your best interest to, around normal people, to keep magic battles at a minimum.
It's not as though we started it.
If it's ever in our power, I promise you we'll try to be as quiet as possible.
I mean, if the general public knew that there were powerful magic users that could eradicate large towns and sweep through countrysides, there would be mass panic. We need to ensure that the public's knowledge of our activities, and perhaps in the future the American activities, are not there to frighten the public. What the Germans do, we have no control over that, but let's just say that they too have little reason. Well, I should say Hitler would rather have his story that his Nazis are the most powerful. That story fits him much better than magic is what's allowing him to do the things he is doing. Does that make sense?
Sure. You're saying that both sides are trying to keep this quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Like I said, we'll try our best to operate more quietly than we have so far.
Thank you.
And we'll call home more.
Yes. In regards to that, he takes the pad from you, scratches down a number. This is a number that you can call anytime. It will connect us to a switchboard. And the code word you should use is Franklin wanted a turkey.
Franklin wanted a turkey.
And then do you have it?
Yep.
And then he takes the paper from you and he tears it up, throws it in the trash. Day and night, you can reach us. But you've had a long day, so down below, first floor, grab a bite to eat, and then go to the barracks section in the basement and get some shut-eye.
Thank you.
Good.
Dismissed.
I'll leave.
Do the rest of you follow?
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't a military base that you are on. This is more like a series of buildings. Again, this is a secret group. If you were to walk in the front door, it would look very much like there's military here, but it's like office operations. No one knows, no one of the general public and presumably no one in the Belgian government knows that this is, one of the headquarters of a very powerful magic organization running some kind of secret campaign out of their country that is supposed to be remaining neutral in this war. Right. So, you have a sub-basement level. That's where your garage is at. That is presumably where they brought the truck back into with the creature that they brought back is in that sub-basement area, or kind of a back area of the building. Basement area is where barracks are. First floor is kitchen, parlor room, a research library. Second floor is upper administration, and then you don't know what is on the top floor.
I'll go get something to eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go in, and it's even though it's relatively late, the kitchen is still open. They have some cold beans, some cold biscuits, some cold eggs that you can have. There's nothing really hot right now.
That's okay.
I guess a question I should ask all of you to think about and maybe answer is, what are your character goals right now? And what are the resources that you have on yourselves or have with you to achieve those goals? Let's start with Valentino. Valentino, what are your wants? And what are the resources that you have to achieve those wants and goals?
I feel like the main thing Valentina would be wanting right now is some kind of clear idea of what's really going on with all this.
Okay. And how would you go about finding that out?
I think his main method would be investigation, exploration.
Okay.
I don't know that he's got much material assets right now to do this, but if there is like a research room that you can perhaps get access to, he'd probably be looking into that.
Okay. I did mention that there was a library.
Yeah. He might have to start poking around there, but I think right now he's just concerned about filling his belly while kind of digesting the events of the last couple hours.
Okay. All right. Doc, what about you?
I feel like a short-term goal is to stop being yelled at by people who gave us no clear goal and no real idea of what we were doing, but still disapprove of the way it was done. But long-term goal is I want to know about these shoggoths. I want to know about these things that are happening.
Yeah, Shoggoths.
Yeah, that too. In the shadows. There's, it is frustrating to me that there is this entire apparatus that knows these things that we don't. And it seems like I want to know what, how, where, is there a way to fight these creatures? And more importantly, why are they so creepy? So I really want to try and dig into like the weird, creepy stuff of all the things and
So how would you go about that then?
Well, I definitely want to look in the library.
Okay.
They say they have a library. I want to go and find things.
So realize you guys can ask people questions.
We can't
just kind of
feel that.
Yes.
Maybe you might.
We've been getting dressed down for everything we say since we got back from Brussels.
I mean, you did steal a car from
Yeah. Messed up one car, stole another.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
We can't really ask arcane questions while that's happening.
It's collateral damage, These things happen. I mean, guy opens fire on us and starts trying to kill the person that we're supposed to meet. I mean, what would we have done? What is proper military discipline in that situation? I don't know.
Well, personally, I think you did the right thing.
I do too.
But there's always going to be consequences to actions.
Well, consequences are awful, and I hate them.
Yeah. Well, that's life. Bug Eater. What are Bug Eater's goals, and what are the resources or ways that you can reach those goals right now?
Right now, Bug Eater's just looking to take care of what's given to him.
And you did very well by abandoning that car in the alley.
Yeah, like as far as a mission goes, like we've been told by Eisenhower to work with these guys and deal with things, so that's what Bug Eater's going to do.
Okay.
If he gets a hold of it.
Do you have any resources that can help you out?
Only my capabilities.
Okay.
Maybe a couple of contacts if things go sideways in the wrong, or to go sideways.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned contacts. You have a contact, right?
I have two.
Oh, you have two contacts. Who might they be?
I have a vehicle contact and I have an aircraft specific contact.
Dutch, what are your character's goals, and what are the resources that you have that you can use to achieve those goals, or what do you want and how are you going to get it?
Yeah, so Dutch, his main goal when joining the army was to piss off his parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of been dealt a blow because now he's in secret stuff, so they can't know about it. So that's going to be harder. But also he kind of got kicked out of the army, so that can't reflect well. So that'll work. Probably.
Okay.
But really the reason why Dutch wants to piss off his parents, like that was an immediate goal, is because Dutch has been traveling around Europe on behalf of his parents' company. And he's been seeing the stuff that the Nazis are doing, and his parents don't want to do anything about it. So he's kind of simultaneously like, well, maybe I can do something about it and also piss off my parents in the process. So immediate goals is, to sort of investigate and unravel these mysteries so that at the very least he can kick some Nazi sub-organizations in the shins in the process.
Okay.
Because if his intuition is right, they're not just shooting people and they're not just gassing people, but they are in fact also, turning people into monsters, and torturing people with magic. So he definitely wants to put a stop to that as best as he can.
So you're sitting there eating, and the brigadier's secretary comes in. She sees you all sitting around the table. She moves in the opposite direction and goes and gets herself a cup of coffee and sits at a table away from you.
Rude.
That's fine. Is she young?
No, she's an older woman.
Okay.
She's relatively short. I would say she's probably about between 5'2", 5'4", something like that. She is wearing heels. She's got graying hair. It's not gray, but it is graying. She has spectacles that she was using. They're kind of thick, dark rimmed frames that sit on her nose. You can tell that she, working with the brigadier, she's probably somebody that has seen a lot of things or heard a lot of things. But she is very much giving off a vibe of leave me alone. But she is enjoying her coffee.
I feel like this is a trap.
Yes, she pushes a button under the table. You all fall through a trapdoor.
Yeah, Dutch will just eat. He'll be like, do you guys... I mean, we still have that crystal dot on the map that we can probably go in and investigate. Unless you guys have any other ideas. They're not giving us a lot of guidance.
They're really not.
I mean, to be fair, they gave you a mission to go investigate. You did. So congratulations, you completed a mission.
Yay.
And now it's been just over 24 hours since this adventure began.
Right.
And so there's really not at this point not a lot that they are. It's not like this has been like 5 weeks or anything like that. This has literally been 24 hours since you showed up at Section M's doorstep.
Sure.
So we should probably sleep. And while we're asleep, maybe the universe will forward. Yeah, that's what it is.
Is that how it works? I thought everything went away when I slept.
Things happen when we're not there.
Impossible.
I don't believe you.
It is about 8 p.m.
And how long has it been since we actually slept?
Did you sleep when you were riding back in the truck?
I don't think we did.
Okay. Did you do any sleeping when they brought you back to base and cleaned you up at all?
I don't recall saying so probably not.
Yeah, so you guys have been up for over 24 hours now.
Yep.
Maybe we're hallucinating.
The general secretary gets up, and as she's walking by you, she stops and says, "Oh, once you get to know the general, he's really quite a nice man."
Oh,
and then she
I'm
turns
sure.
and she turns and leaves.
I'll keep that in mind. Should we asked about that red-haired kid?
Yeah.
I mean, we kept seeing him everywhere, so I would be surprised if he wasn't involved in some way.
Yeah, and a copyright violation.
Yeah. I tried to ignore him, but clearly he's our
Just
number
keep
one
away from any
priority.
hairy sailors.
Yeah, we need to chase him down. His dog, his fish named Captain, and those two bowler hat guys he hangs out with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should get some sleep. Churning this stuff in our brains right now is probably not going to do as much good.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they tell us tomorrow.
All right. You all go and rest. You can clear out your stress if you have any stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll give you a chance to do a little bit of healing. You do not sleep well, though. I will say this. Maybe these barracks are maybe a step up from where you were at before with the U.S. military, where you were sleeping literally on cots. But these mattresses are lumpy, and your dreams are plagued with nightmares of creatures and menacing Nazis and, stories of strange faraway places where you might be fighting creatures, looking for clues. You just have a very restless sleep. And then it's morning time, and you are up.
I'm not happy about it.
And today they have warm beans and warm eggs
Are they
and
the,
warm toast.
are they the same eggs and the same beans?
I mean, who can tell?
I bet I could. I'm a doctor.
That's a step up.
True.
So everyone else fought a monster yesterday?
The cook just kind of stares at you. It's probably best you don't talk about that.
Still kind of getting used to what we should and should not talk about where.
Well, we've lost a lot of good men to those creatures. People don't like to talk about that here.
Fair enough.
You're Americans.
Yeah.
I could tell. Your accent.
I'm working on it.
I get some beans.
Mm.
He just serves up a big old spoon of beans and plops them
Beans.
right on there. He slips you 2 sausages as well.
Oh, nice.
And what else? Some eggs and toast. A proper English breakfast.
Yeah.
Beans on toast.
What are you boys up to today?
Oh, we don't know yet. We're waiting for the information that we brought yesterday to sort of be, I guess, run up the chain. I'm sure they'll tell us what they want us to do next here in a bit.
You know how I ended up here?
No.
Serving you beans.
How'd you end up here?
I started peeling potatoes.
Oh.
And then I took initiative and said, I'm going to stir the beans. And they liked that I stirred the beans. And he said, you got initiative. How about you serve the beans instead of stirring the beans?
Oh.
And that's how I got where I am, by taking initiative.
Okay. All right. I'll just lean over and whisper to Bug Eater, I think there's a job for you here if you really want to stir some beans.
Well, so far they ain't been too bad or too pleased with what we've been stirring up.
What have you been stirring up? That creature? You didn't stir that up.
Oh, you'll find out. You'll find out about the stuff we've been stirring up. I don't think that's gonna. I don't think the lid on that's gonna stay on for very long. But we probably shouldn't talk about it because it's probably still classified or whatever.
Oh, no, you can talk about anything you want here. Inside these walls, we all took an oath.
Kind of get some mixed signals around
Yeah,
here.
you just told us not to talk about the monster.
Well, no, don't talk about the monster. Nobody likes talking about that.
Okay, well, what if a monster was involved in the last thing we did?
Was there a monster involved in the last thing you did?
There was like a wizard involved.
Oh, Black
There was
Sun.
2 of them.
Yeah, I guess. We only saw one of them use magic, but I guess both of them are wizards.
Yeah,
Possibly all 3.
there's lots of wizards on that. Black
Possibly.
Sun.
I guess if we see that guy again, then we'll know that he was a wizard because he got shot and
definitely-
flung out of a car.
Was
So,
kind of full of holes last time. Yeah.
yeah,
You killed a guy.
we might have.
Was he a Nazi?
I mean, we tried.
Probably.
Yes,
He
he was.
scoops up a big old extra helping of beans on each of your plates.
Oh,
Good
thank
job,
you.
boys. Right on.
I will say thank you and head back to the table. It's remind me next time to be drafted into a French secret organization. I think the accents will be as bad, but the food will probably be better.
I like
Yes.
Yeah, beans are fine.
beans and eggs.
And toast. I mean, I can't really complain.
Yeah, and who doesn't
I
like
mean,
sausage?
it's a full meal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we'll eat some beans and probably make chit chat.
Valentina, you got something you want to do today?
Well,
Hey, actually, just real quick, I have a question.
Sure.
What is the, I guess, because this is like a pulp thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Mhm.
obviously we're the themes are specific or whatever. Do we have a policy on smoking? Are we trying to downplay smoking because smoking's not good? Or
1940.
I mean,
Does your
we've seen
character
people
smoke?
smoking. Yeah, it's I don't want my character to smoke, and I was actually about to ask if anybody's character smoked, but I didn't know if there was I'm not expecting something like Marvel style where they're like Nick Fury can't smoke anymore.
Yeah, no, you saw
Um,
the
yeah, mhm.
the garage owner. He's smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
So
So just kind of people People in
Yeah.
the time period smoked aplenty.
Yep. Dear listeners,
so then-
smoking bad for you. Smoking has been shown to cause cancer.
I would imagine that having worked with these guys, Dutch would already know if any of them smoked. So, do any of your characters smoke?
I do not.
Sure.
Nah.
See, that's why Valentina ends with all the ladies.
He's the only cool guy.
He's the only cool guy who's out smoking, being cool. Dutch has definitely got a list of things like, what are things my dad does? I'm going to do the opposite.
Okay. So are you and Valentino going out for a smoke?
I'll go with him if he's going out for a smoke. And like Dutch definitely has a lighter on him, even though he usually doesn't smoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
I'll
what you're doing,
step out.
Valentino?
Yeah.
Okay. So you step out the back of the building, away from the main street. Here there are a few cars. There's a banged up brown sedan that, has been moved off. It looks like some work has been done on it overnight, but not a whole lot.
Hmm.
And you see some general milling about. You see a couple of soldiers that you probably you recognize at least one of them from the group that came in and killed the Shoggoth. And they're kind of standing around laughing, also having a smoke. One of them gives you a wave.
A wave.
Kinda. Yeah. Give a curt wave back.
I'll give Valentino my lighter. Like, I think I might have to pick this up because something tells me it's going to be difficult maneuvering the social hierarchy of this place. So this might give me a bit of a leg up.
Yeah. Well, if you want to bum one, here you go.
Yeah, all right. Like, light it up. Start coughing.
Maybe don't take such big drags.
Yeah, no. The moment I did it, I realized I was doomed.
One of the soldiers walks over. Oh, wait, can I get a smoke?
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. He slides it behind his ear. I hear you boys had a lot of excitement yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all over
Yep.
the papers.
Yeah, after you guys saved our bacon, we figured we had to put some more stuff in the fire, but maybe we went a little bit too far.
No, you can never go too far. I say, punch a Nazi. Punch him hard.
Well,
Well,
we definitely put a lot of holes in at least one of them.
Good for you. Wish I would have been there.
some backup would have been nice.
We spent 2 weeks tracking that creature.
I see.
I just wanted to kill some Nazis.
I guess we kind of beat you to it because the creature didn't get there till after we had wiped out their camp. But
Yeah. We'll try to save a few more for you next time.
yeah, maybe they'll eventually let us do some joint maneuvers.
Yeah, that'd be great. Did you ever find out what group those Nazis were?
Nah, they don't know yet. They're not, or maybe they're a sub whatever of the Black Sun, but they didn't have any Black Sun iconography on them.
Right. We've been calling them, me and a couple of lads over there, we've been calling them Night Wolves on account that they dress in black and they have that wolf patch.
That's probably a much better name than they deserve, but it's catchy.
So, do we just need to wait around here for our next marching orders, or do we have leave to go out and investigate on our own?
Just between you and me, and he kind of leans in close to you. I think they're flummoxed about what to do with you.
Well, that makes a lot of us.
Yeah.
I heard the commander talking to the brigadier, and they didn't hear this from me. They don't want you here. They're afraid the Americans are going to get all the information.
Well, we've been giving them all the information we find.
I mean, we presume that any appropriate information gets channeled back to the proper channels to our superiors as well.
He just kind of looks at you and shrugs, like,
Yeah, I'm not sure how quite this is supposed to work out.
Yeah, I think whatever's going on here with us, they just literally made it up as it was happening. So I don't think there's a lot of precedent for our involvement.
There's not a lot of precedent for what we're doing.
That's true.
That's a good point.
So, have you seen anything else weird besides the Shoggoths?
Listen, we don't talk about those.
Right.
Too many
Right.
friends.
Right. Sorry.
Those things are creepy, though.
Mm.
We have
Is there
seen.
is there anything else we should watch out for?
Should watch out for wizards.
Right.
Good call.
They have wizards that can shoot light from their hand, suck breath from your lungs, blind you, cripple you. One lad had his whole leg almost snapped clean off.
Wow.
And those are just the ones we've seen. We've seen, he scratches his head, call them novices.
Oh, so like low level wizards, like just starting out wizards.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
that group of Nightwolf that you killed,
Mm-hmm.
they should have had a novice with them, but they didn't. And that's weird.
That is weird.
Like some bit of luck for us.
I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah. Unless the novice just got away. If maybe he was off in the trees, taking a leak.
Normally, the Black Sun have a novice, at least one, if not two. And that's what they're using to control. And he kind of waves his hand,
Right.
what
Yeah.
we had talk
Mhm.
about.
Yep. Mhm. All right. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Do they dress a particular way, like when they're out in the field?
Best way to spot a Black Sun is they usually have this symbol of a Black Sun
Mm-hmm.
on themselves somewhere.
Okay. I mean, you gotta hand it to the Nazis. At the very least, they're like very well labeled.
Bugger the Nazis.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
wish there was a Nazi here right now. I'd just give him such a pummeling.
Me too.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Well,
I'll shake his hand.
I'm Mullard, by the way.
Dutch, Valentino.
Nice to meet you. Well,
gives a nod.
I've got a briefing, so I better go. Cheerio.
Yeah, cheerio.
Yeah, see you around.
Back in the kitchen. I took initiative, I did.
Is he talking to a completely different person now?
He's talking to Bug Eater and Doc, who are still eating.
Is he shouting from the bean pot?
Yes.
Nice.
He's just trying to convey how he's moved up in the ranks because he took initiative.
Initiative, yeah.
I'm just nodding along while I eat my beans.
I'm going to go down to the library. I'm going to look under S.
Okay, so you go into the library,
Mhm.
and the library takes up a big portion of this floor. And it's not a traditional library like you might go into a, like one of the Rockefeller libraries that you've seen, growing up.
Mhm.
This is a very nice library that you might find in a manor home. But instead of, just books and books and books, you see the shelves stacked helter-skelter. You see books out of whack. Instead of being stacked vertically, you see some stacked horizontally. You see filing cabinets that look like they have papers coming out of them. You see manila envelopes stacked up in certain sections. At first glance, there doesn't appear to be any kind of order to what you're looking at. There are several people who are in there working. There's a youngish man who looks like he is, he's probably about 5'10", black hair combed over, very kind of, he's got the pomade going on. It's combed over, very slick. He's got glasses on, suspenders, bow tie. There are a couple of women who are working. They're in business suits. They are also filing, and they're one of them is typing. The other one is moving around she's got a card in her hand, and she's going from certain sections of the shelves to other sections of the shelves, pulling things off, putting them down, looking through to make sure that this is the right information, closing it down, making notes, putting it into a pile on a cart, and then pushing the cart to the next area where she needs to grab some information.
Excuse me.
May I help you?
I'm looking for information.
You don't have to whisper. This isn't a library.
I need to know about those things we don't talk about.
Shoggoths?
Yeah, those.
Oh, I don't know. What do you want to know?
I want to know where they come from, what they do, how I can stop one. More importantly, if I run into more than one of them, can I turn them against one another? Are they somehow from another dimension? Are they powered by some, crystalline force? Do they come from the center of the earth? Have they been sent as part of some sort of, invasion force from, say, an external dimension where certain things lie in wait?
You have a lot of questions. You might want to wait for me to answer some before you ask your next one. She seems very irritated at you.
Well, it is a library.
She walks over. Here's what we happen to have on a Shoggoth. She pulls off a manila folder. She hands it to you.
I open it.
Inside is a clipping from a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know from where, but it is dated, I think it's 1927.
Try.
And it's from the Associated Press. And the Associated Press article, as you're reading through here, is talking about the backwoods people of Dunwich spinning some crazy tale about a giant creature lumber through the countryside of Dunwich, Massachusetts. And the AP article seems to write it off as a bit of a lark. Like, in funny news, those crazy people in Dunwich are at it again. But you can tell from the description, especially the Dunwich people describe a creature as large as a house that they can't see in that article.
Mm-hmm. And that's literally it.
That is the only thing that they have.
So this is everything you have.
I mean, yes.
You don't sound certain.
I mean, what else do you want to know? We don't know where they come from. They're Nazi weapons.
Well, if I knew what I needed to know, then I wouldn't have to ask you for it.
Have you gone down to the medical?
No. Should I?
They brought the creature back 2 nights ago. They've been examining it.
Did we know that?
I mean, they hauled that thing onto a truck.
Okay.
We knew that they had
brought it back to
here.
yeah.
Ah, yes. Good, I'll go there.
You go down to the medical floor, wherever that's at. That's up on the 5th floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
the floor
makes
you
sense.
haven't been to.
5 is medical. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
There are guards outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you can't go in.
Why not?
You don't have clearance? He points at your chest and shows that you have no badge. He points to his shirt. He has a badge.
But I have top clearance.
No, you don't.
I was brought here.
You're one of them Americans. And he and the other guard kind of chuckle.
I was brought here as an operative of one of your allies in this great war, which we are all fighting together, I might add.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, we're not.
You don't have clearance.
Can I see your badge?
Maybe you should step off, sir.
Does he have a gun?
Yes.
Is it a big gun?
It is a big gun.
I'm here about the Shoggoth.
We don't talk about that. And he
I
starts
know.
to reach for his weapon.
That's why I've been sent here.
You haven't been sent here. We would know you would come in and you would have clearance. And he points at his badge. You would have one of these.
Who has the clearance and how do I get it?
You need to see the brigadier.
Fine. What floor is the brigadier on?
1 floor below you. You were in his office last night.
Right. I remember that.
And where do you go?
As I'm going down the stairs to the cafeteria, I realize the brigadier's office is right here.
Okay.
I go to the brigadier's office.
The same secretary that you saw last night is there. She's typing away. As soon as you enter, she looks at you. May I help you?
Yes, I think you can. I'm trying to see if I can make it into the medical section, but
Why?
Why what?
Why do you need into the medical section?
I would like to find out more information about the Mhm.
The what?
Mhm.
She just is like, I don't have time for your nonsense.
The Shoggoth.
What about it?
I want to know about it.
Have you been to the library?
I have been to the library.
And?
It was a very entertaining clipping, but it's also more than a decade old and says literally nothing.
She looks at you and says, are you sure?
Am I sure? I read it. It was there. It was on the paper. I looked at the paper. There were words on the paper.
You're from Boston? I can tell by your accent you're from Boston.
Yes.
And you don't know about this?
I know things. I don't know how the things fit together.
She pulls out a folder, opens it up, looks at you, looks at the folder, looks back up. You went to Arkham.
Yes.
You know Dr. Armitage.
I do know Dr. Armitage.
So how do you not know about a Shoggoth?
I also know Dr. West. I simply wanted to know what information we don't know.
We don't know where they're from. We don't know how they're made.
And all we know is a 10-year-old newspaper clipping.
That's all we know now.
Except for the one upstairs that's being currently dissected.
Who told you?
I hear things. And so if I had clearance, I could go up there and I could compare what they know with what I know.
But you said you don't know anything.
Yes, and then the gentleman downstairs said we don't talk about the S word, and then he said it very loudly. So
the soldiers do not talk about the Shoggoths because they have had bad experiences with them.
Well, as have I.
I am in administration. I don't care about a bleeding Shoggoth.
So, if you don't care, you can fill out my clearance so I can go upstairs where the nice man with the gun will let me in to see what information we know.
You have to speak to the brigadier.
That's why I'm here.
Like, I know that she's not like a soldier, but does the general staff like have like dress like military personnel? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know,
not quite. Like the person that Doc saw in the library was wearing like street clothes. He was wearing pants, suspenders, bow tie type stuff. The women were wearing smart business suits.
Mm-hmm.
The general, though, he's wearing military, his military uniform.
Right.
The two soldiers that you saw down in the courtyard and the one that you spoke to, he's wearing a military uniform fitting of his rank.
Okay.
Here's a group of people, Matthew, that don't want Americans here.
Mm-hmm.
You've already caused a bunch of trouble on your first day.
Mm-hmm.
And your attitude towards her has and also to the person upstairs has made them like you even less than they already do not like you.
Oh, that's good. Everyone hating you. Yeah, that's helpful. I know you're busy, ma'am. I apologize. It's a new situation for me. I as you know, I am an American and we do things differently. And I suppose I should take that into account. I don't want to keep you from your work. And I certainly don't want to interrupt the brigadier. I don't want to make more of a scene than we already have. Obviously, there have been mistakes made. And part of that is absolutely on me. But without context, without assistance, it is going to be very difficult. And so...
Well, I understand what it's like to be in a strange country. I didn't ask to come here. I, too, have made a few mistakes. The first day I went to the 3rd floor instead of the 4th floor. I can see you're trying. Come back in an hour. Bring your friends. And I'll see if the brigadier will see you then.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Run along now.
I go back to the ground floor.
What's everyone else doing?
Once we're done hanging out outside, I'll probably go back to
the mess.
To the cafeteria to see if
these
guys are still there.
Bug Eater, have you just been sitting there this entire time?
No,
Eating
I was just
beans.
waiting for my turn.
Okay. So what are you
Ah.
doing during this entire time?
Bugger will at least let Doc know where he's going, but he's going to head to the garage, the garage, to just take a look at all of the vehicles that we might have access to, so as he can become familiar with
Okay.
whatever he may end up driving in.
Yeah. So the garage area, there are several workers there. People are doing weldings. People are doing hammering. People are doing servicing of engines. There are certainly some very nice vehicles that would probably be reserved for the brigadier and higher ups in the organization, but maybe not necessarily. But that's what you could assume. There are also average cars. There's a couple of sedans, just like the one that you were requisitioned to go to Brussels. And then there are two large military, or I should say, there's a spot for two large military transport trucks. One truck is not there. That bay is empty, but the other one is there, and there's people working under the hood on that vehicle. You can also see that there is a flatbed that was used to bring the creature to the facility. There is at least one motorcycle and several bicycles.
Probably ignore those, since it seems like the group would have a problem with, group probably
Bicycles.
wouldn't be given a motorcycle.
It's got a sidecar.
Yeah, there's still 4 of us.
2 more sidecars.
Now we're talking. Just kind of wander through the garage to take a look at all the different vehicles, see if anybody approaches me. If no one approaches, I'll approach whoever is in charge.
Yeah, it's that guy with the cigar that you saw the night before when you guys came
Yeah.
in. He yelled at you and he was super angry.
I'm going to go up and apologize for for abandoning the vehicle, really.
Hello, lad. What do you want?
Just wanted to apologize for the troubles yesterday. Losing your vehicle, it getting brought back by some random kid. Was also looking to see if there was any help that you guys needed here, while the rest of my guys are looking for whatever we're going to be doing next. I'd like to keep my hands busy and get to know some of these vehicles, especially if I'm going to be handling any of them in the near future.
He kind of looks at you and he kind of scratches his head, and he's kind of looking you up and down. You seem like a good kid. No odd feelings. It's just that these are all the vehicles we have, and so people get a little bit out of shape when one goes missing.
No, that makes sense.
My name's Gandhi, by the way. And he reaches out to shake your hand.
Blisco, but
He's got
You'll hear me.
lots of grease on his hand.
to happily take hold. Give him a good shake. Blisco, but you'll hear them all call me Bug Eater.
He just stops. You eat bugs?
It's a Nebraska thing.
He may not have a great grasp of geography of the United States, so he just kind of looks at you blankly.
That's what they call the people from the state that I am from.
Oh, right.
Or at
Well,
least used to.
there's a wrench. That car right there needs to have its spark plugs removed.
All right, grab the wrench and
He
get to
kinda
work.
Pat you on the shoulder as you go off and work on that car. What about Dutch and Valentino?
Yep. Once we're done outside, we'll head back to the cafeteria and see if anybody's still there.
Okay. So Bug Eater is gone. You don't see him.
Mm-hmm.
You're standing around for a minute, and then Doc comes in looking maybe a little flustered.
Hey, Doc, you doing all right?
Yes, I may have gotten us access to the medical floor where they're examining the hospital.
Right. Okay. Do you think you could actually learn something from looking at it? Because I'm not. I don't think I'd be able to get anything out of that.
Possibly.
I mean, yeah, good for you. You've been exploring around?
A little bit.
That's good.
Lot of bureaucracy. Very British.
Yeah. I think, I mean, at least for us, it's going to be a lot easier interacting with the lower ends of the pyramid.
Mhm.
I think the,
Top-down
grunts
approach.
like us are going to have a lot easier time, or we're going to have a lot easier time talking to them than talking to the brass or staff. Just a guess. We hung out with a soldier for about 10 minutes, and he was actually a lot more friendly and helpful than anybody else has been so far.
Good point.
But yeah, probably can't get us, at least not legally get us access to the medical bay, so there you go.
Mm.
Where's Bug Eater?
I mean, I'd have one guess.
Oh, you
The
think he's down in
garage?
the garage?
Unless there's anywhere else where they keep things with motors.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? There's got to be if there has to be a silver lining, is the fact that we ended up someplace with a fleet, because I think Bug Eater was really starting to feel bad from just being able to tweak that one Jeep. Were Jeeps invented yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he had that as juiced as much as he could.
Well, let's go see what he's up to, just to see what he's up to. And you said, do we need to go talk to someone about the...
The Brigadier's Secretary General said give her an hour or so, and she would see about getting us some clearance.
Okay. We'll go up and see her after we see Bug Eater, see if he wants to come along. We'll go down to the garage.
Yeah, there's lots of vehicles here. You can smell sometimes like exhaust because like they'll start up a vehicle.
Yeah.
Some exhaust will fill the space. They'll shut it down. You see guys wrenching on engines. You see another one that's up on a lift, and a guy is changing tires or doing something underneath the vehicle. There are sedans and fancy cars. There's one truck. You can see the platform that brought the creature in the night before, or 2 nights before. And there is a bay that is empty where another truck would probably be at. And people are just wrenching around, talking. There's a radio playing. Everybody's listening to some music. And way down at the end of the line, underneath the hood of a sedan, you can make out the back half of Bug Eater, who is way underneath that hood, wrenching away.
I'll walk over. I'll like knock on the side of the car like it's a door.
Pull myself out of the vehicle. Oh, hey guys.
Hey, find anything good in there?
Well, just tweaking it, making sure all these. Just wanted to be familiar with whatever we got stuck with next.
Well, it's good to know that at least one of us is getting clearance to what they want. But Doc over here, he wants us to come with him because we might get some access to the medical bay for him. And then after that, we're going to try to figure out where they keep their dolls so that Valentino can get access to that.
Fair. Yeah, I can come and help.
Okay. Well, you might want to clean up because we're going to go see the Brigadier. But yeah, it's in how long do we have? Like 20 minutes?
Yeah, like 5-10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Reasonable.
in that case, I'll just be like, just try to clean up as much as possible and meet us up there.
Yep.
The joys of gasoline and turpentine to clean off gunk.
Degrease her on the face. It'll be fine.
All right, so you go back up to the Brigadier's office.
Yes.
The four of you together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As a unit. Do we have a name?
Yeah, we're the Americans.
Yeah.
Americans.
Hello, go on in.
Thank you.
You go into the Brigadier's office, and he is talking to another man. He is rather tall. He's kind of hunched over. He's kind of got a stoop to him. He's wearing a white lab coat, and he's looking at a folder with the Brigadier, and it looks like they're in the middle of a conversation. Hello. Ingrid said you were asking about the you-know-what.
Yes. I had hoped to get at least to look at it or to talk to the people who were looking at it.
This is Dr. Sprecher. Or maybe it's Spreaker. I don't know, patron. I'm sorry. This is Dr. Spiker. He's in charge of our medical facility. You kind of recognize him because the night that you guys came in and got patched up, he was one of the ones that kind of gave you a quick once-over to make sure there wasn't anything super serious with you.
Okay.
Yes. In retrospect, probably checking for some other stuff.
Well, he seemed at the time, in retrospect, he seemed a little bit dismayed that there was one person who was dead out of your party. He seemed very dismayed by that. Yeah, and then he looks at you and goes, "What? There are 5 of you."
There were.
Yeah, one of them had, or one of us had this thing in his eyes that's called like a Yorp or something.
The general kind of coughs. He's one of the Yith. And Spiker's like, oh, okay. I'm sorry.
What is that? What is
a Yith? We don't quite know. It seems to be a spell that overcomes people. And if they come out of it, they're raven loonies. Talking about cones and rods and creatures with 3 arms. It's rather disturbing. But you're not here about that. You are here about the thing upstairs.
Yes.
Well, come along with me. And he looks at the general. The general nods. And he wants you to follow him upstairs.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
We accompany him upstairs.
You walk past the guards outside the medical door. They kind of stand at attention as the doctor walks by. You go inside, and this building is a fairly large building, right? So the space that you walk into occupies most of this top floor. It is probably 100 feet by 100 feet at least, if not more.
Okay.
And I mean, it's got to be big enough to hold at least parts of the creature.
Sure.
And you can see that, yes, on every medical table is a part of this creature. It has been torn apart, dissected. It is all over the place. I understand that you paid a visit to our library and you've read up everything about the Shoggoths. I understand you're also from Arkham. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So you certainly know about these things.
Yes. And that's what I wanted to know. What do you know? For lack of a better word. I mean, definitively there isn't a whole lot of, I guess I should say, scholarly work.
Wait, 1 minute. One second. Why does it matter that he's from Arkham?
This is where the first creature was spotted.
These things are American?
No, these things are eldritch. These things are otherworldly.
But
the very first one that we know of
happened in the United States.
Yes, in Dunwich.
In Dunwich? Massachusetts?
Yes.
Yes.
That's like 2 hours drive from where I live.
And you've not heard of this? And he guys kind of looking around like, why am I a Brit know more about what's going on in America than you guys? That's kind of the look he gives you.
I believe that the single page of actual information in the files downstairs is probably the answer for that. But is it intelligent? Was this one, do we believe, intelligent? Or was it?
We think they're all intelligent.
So how are they controlling them?
Magic. We don't know where they're from.
Right.
We believe that they could be created in one of 2 ways. They could be brought forth through a portal and just be summoned here. Or we believe that someone could be transformed into one of these creatures. But that takes a lot of time.
Do we know where that portal would come from?
No.
Does the word Carcosa mean anything to you?
Do you mean Carcassonne? That's a place in France.
That's different. Ah, all right. Well, okay. So, when you were, I guess dissecting is the correct term, maybe.
Can we see it?
Decanting?
Oh, you can see it. It's on all the tables.
Yeah, distilling.
It is. You see tentacles and eyeballs and open mouths and teeth, and you see stuff dripping off the edge of the medical table and pooling at the bottom. You see some of the places where they've attempted to put like a bucket where the stuff is dripping off to attempt to catch it, but it's also spilling over the edge of the bucket.
Gross.
Yeah, you can see the creature. It's all over this room.
Are you the only one who has been working with it, or have there been multiple people?
Oh no, I have a staff.
All right. And have any of your staff mentioned hearing any voices or maybe feeling any compulsions? Saying
No.
anything odd? Have you noticed any hebephrenic repetition?
No.
All right. So no one dealing with this creature has said anything that sounds perhaps like the cry of a small bird.
What are you talking about?
This is very important. These are important. We need to know.
Roll what's a bluff check in this? Roll a will plus persuasion.
Will plus persuasion.
This will be difficulty 3. Will
like
plus persuasion, difficulty 3.
It might be, more of a sort of an
will plus persuasion, difficulty 3.
Do we have any momentum?
You have one momentum.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Grab it.
All right.
I mean, you literally can't make it.
That's true.
That's pretty close.
Yes, I got 2 successes.
Do you have focus that would apply? Because that too.
I'm a little. Yeah.
What's that?
Off-putting. I'm a little off-putting. Is
yeah.
Intensity factor there.
He, I guess, is going along with you. You've got this wild look in your face.
Yeah.
Which is already a little unsettling. But he's going along with you for now, but he still doesn't. He thinks that what you're talking about is nonsense.
Okay. And were there any symbols or anything anywhere on the creature's person? Or I don't know if it has anything. No, it's just a thing. All right.
Yeah, if you want to look at the parts, you feel free to look at the parts.
Well, I mean, they're sludge.
I mean, they're decaying.
What might I roll to know if that sludge is meaningful sludge?
Reason plus medicine.
Reason plus medicine. Okay. Any
Difficulty
idea?
2.
Difficulty 2. Oh, that might be doable. But we don't have any momentum, so.
And you also don't have none of your focuses in medicine would work here either.
They wouldn't do anything? Okay.
No.
I didn't figure they would.
1 success. You do not.
Crap.
So yeah, you look at this, you look at the parts, you look at them, and the eyeballs stare back at you. This dead look stares back at you. The tentacles are lifeless now. The sinewy bits are, you can tell that there's rapid decomposition going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all you can tell. There's nothing that would say that this is, where it originates from. There's nothing here that tells you what it is. You can make out like blood vessel, veins, arteries. You can make out, gullets that lead to a stomach area.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you can't tell where the stomach is because the thing is, spread across the entire room.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it looks like a combination of human stuff and stuff you've not seen before, but it's somewhat familiar. Why don't you also take a will plus resilience test, difficulty 2?
Ooh, I wonder if I'm going to get at that. There's my will. I suppose that makes sense, alphabetically speaking. So I'm looking at this, and it's trying to drive me insane. Oh, good. 2 successes.
Good, very good. So you get 1 momentum back. Or what did I say? That was 2 difficulty. Okay. Yeah. So you are okay. You're numb to this horrible stuff. You, in your past days, you have seen some horrible things. This doesn't look like any of that horrible stuff that you've seen before, but it seems adjacent to that. You can tell that this is not natural. You can tell that something had to be done to either create this creature or bring the creature forth. But your courage and your past experiences are keeping you from taking any mental stress.
Okay. Do I, and this is me asking out of character, I know and or believe that this is transformed humans, or is this just some pterotomatic monster that resembles human flesh?
That part you can't tell at this point.
Okay, and I don't know for
But
certain.
it does look, I mean, that looks like a human eye. That looks like a human mouth. That looks like human muscles.
Mhm.
But human muscles don't turn into tentacles, and humans tend to not have 10,000 eyes and 5,000 mouths and millions of teeth.
You don't have millions of teeth?
Not on me.
So yeah, Doc is very, very intent on studying this creature and getting absolutely nothing out of it. But it's probably.
I mean, you have more information than you have now. Keep in mind, Matt, and this is Stephen, the GM, talking to Matthew, the player. You had a lot of other questions that you had spewed onto the librarian, who would not have known those questions. You are now with somebody who might be in a position to answer some of those other questions that you had.
Okay. Someone would have to read it back to me. Honestly.
Check the transcript.
So a couple of the questions you asked is, how's it created? Which I think you've already got the answer. They don't know. It might be grown. It might be brought in.
Right.
Another question that you had asked is, how do you kill it, or how do you dispose of it?
Right.
You asked if it can be controlled. I think you've already got the answer to that.
And we know
I'll ask him. I'll ask the doctor. What is this? The first one you've recovered, or have you had others?
This is the first one we've actually been able to have in the lab. There was one that we lost a lot of men, and the boys don't like to talk about it. They don't even like it when we mention the word Shoggoth.
Yeah, we've heard.
We lost 75% of our men in one mission to one of these creatures.
And it got away, or just...
No, they eventually killed it, but before we could get it back to the lab, it, as you can see, and he's pointing around to all of the stuff decomposing, it decomposed before we could get any real information from it.
Dutch is very intently not looking at it, but he's like, okay. So just from eyewitness accounts, you know that these are the things that were deployed on Poland, or how do we know that?
No, we just assume, because how and why would the Nazis be able to overrun an entire country so easily?
Okay.
Were there any reports indicating invisible creatures?
The creature's invisible?
Well, this one was.
And he starts thinking.
To start with.
You see him ponder for a moment. I could see a stealth camouflage function. Chameleons have the ability to blend into their surroundings. Other animals have... I wonder, you were attacked by this creature. Did it attack while it was invisible?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It did not attack. It did not attack before it was
visible.
Really?
I don't.
Yeah, the first time that it appeared first and then attacked.
Oh, okay.
I remember having to dodge around stuff.
That was in the latter half. It's in its initial attack on you. It became visible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then it turned invisible later and continued to attack us.
It did after that. Yeah.
But it did. Yeah, it did not attack until it had made itself visible. I mean, consider the cuttlefish.
He is starting to write down stuff. He goes, "This is very good. This might be very good information to have." And did you have any indication of the creature before you saw it?
We heard its footsteps.
Yes, very large.
Yeah, loud thuds.
What else?
I don't recall if
it made noise. It made a lot of noise. Actually, its mouths were always making some sort of noise.
Like what kind of noises?
Like whispering and screaming and shouting.
Shouting to who? Do you remember any of the words?
It did say something, but I couldn't tell what it was.
What did it sound like?
It kind of sounded like it was saying Shoggoth or something like that.
Very deep, very booming. Like.
So he's writing all this down as you're telling him. This is fascinating.
Certainly. When your boys came in, they were shooting their Well, they looked like mortars, but I don't know what they were.
Oh, you're talking about the gym cannon.
Yes, the gem.
So the Black Sun have these lightning weapons that shoot bolts of energy from them. And we have noticed that they're very powerful and very effective in killing things.
Yes.
We imagine that those lightning weapons can be used to take down the Shoggoth. We don't have, as of yet, the ability to replicate their weaponry. So we had to do our own research. It's not my division, mind you. This is just what I've heard. Where we found a gem in India that when you pump enough power through it, generates a powerful energy blast that we have found that in 2 or 3 or 4 blasts can bring one of these down. Just like that. Unfortunately, we only have one.
Yeah, no, that thing was very effective.
You used one.
Yeah.
I wish people would tell me things.
Yeah, it actually kind of seems like you guys have a bit of a information issue because we were debriefed on this.
There is a strange chain of command in this organization. You have the military arm, and then you have the civilian arm. And we are not like a typical military unit where everyone is part of the military. They are bringing in people from outside with specific expertise, like myself in, what would he be? Like physiology, biology?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, and with me, with biology and physiology, I'm trying to understand these creatures. But there are certain things that happen, like the military maneuvers that led to the death of all those boys, that I have no idea what has happened. They keep that part very compartmentalized.
Well,
so one thing that I would say is, if you're wanting information from the military side, you have to go through proper channels. And even then, they're going to be very resistant. If you are talking to us and we can speak freely and he looks around, there's no one else in the room except for decomposing monster flesh, I feel like I can say anything that I want within reason.
Dutch will point at Doc and be like, well, there's your new best friend because we're getting sent on these missions and we've already seen all kinds of stuff. So you guys should definitely touch base afterward. Did you keep the face?
The face. And he walks you over to a refrigerator.
Okay, if you're going to open that and the face is in there, I don't want to see it. I'm just asking you if you kept it and if there's any way that somebody could potentially identify what it if it was a real person.
The face was, and he looks at the others. Any of you want to see it?
I do.
I had enough of it when it was trying to kill us.
Yeah, Dutch will just step in such a way that when you open the door, the door will be between him and the fridge. It's if you guys want to look at it, that's fine. I just don't want to look at it.
Yeah, we'll be over here.
I want to see this.
Okay, Matthew, roll a will plus observation, difficulty 2.
Will plus observation?
No, I'm sorry, will plus resilience, difficulty 2.
Okay. Just double checking. That's the last thing I did. 2 successes.
2 successes. All right. So, yes, he opens the door and he pulls it out and he goes, as you can see, the face was stretched to an extreme across the creature. Just
real quick, sorry. I think Matthew got 3 successes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he did.
Ooh.
Okay. So one more momentum added back to you.
Yep.
Whoops, not 41, but 1.
No, 41.
I'll take 41.
So he opens the door and you can see this thing is laying there on a tray.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of folded up, but he's kind of unfolding it and showing it to you. And he says, this is so interesting because this is where the theory is that these may be grown from people, or the people are transformed into this thing because of the amount of stretching that has gone onto the skin. But unfortunately, it's so stretched we can, I mean, I wouldn't even begin to know how to figure out who this might be.
Okay.
And again, just, out of context, so everybody knows, that kind of forensic science wouldn't have been available at that time.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I just I guess what I was going for was something like the Nazis are like spiteful and like awful people. So if it's like, oh yeah, we captured this soldier, like this British soldier,
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
took
that
him into a
wouldn't
showdown to send against the Brits or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
But
You
it's
don't
like
see,
not
like,
easy
any-
to recognize a face. Okay.
No. It would be,
Okay.
it's very distorted. It's probably as he's unfolding it and showing it to Doc, it is probably about 4 or 5 times the size of a face normally, just because of the stretching.
Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't look at it, did you, Bug Eater?
No, but we can hear it.
Okay. And
Yeah,
Dr. Spryker seems very, he's totally into this.
Mhm.
Because this
Sure.
is something new. This is something different, something he hasn't seen. And of course, here is somebody else who is a doctor who he wants to talk about with. So he's totally down for that.
Mm.
Anything else that you guys want to know about this creature now?
So, to your knowledge, do standard weapons, a gun, a knife, do they do any good against the
He
creature?
motions, come. He goes over to one of the tables and he picks up a big old chunk of flesh and just puts it into your hands.
Okay.
I mean, it is your hands that don't have gloves.
Right.
Your hands that now are holding a big old chunk of, eldritch horror meat.
Slorg.
The hide is very thick, and in order to penetrate any of the vital organs, you have to hit this in very specific places. But, how do I say? Have you ever shot a rhino? Or an elephant?
Elephant, yes.
You've shot an elephant,
Well, no, I've seen an elephant.
but you've not shot one.
Well,
He almost did, but we just do not know how it got into his pajamas.
Yes.
I was trying to find a way to say that. Dang it.
Yes, I've seen that one. Very good, very clever. You know that if you try to bring down an elephant or a rhino, you need a very big gun. And this creature is bigger than a rhino or an elephant. And so traditional weapons are not going to have much of an impact.
Makes sense. I'm just going to keep turning the thing in my hand.
There's an eyeball there that stares out at you. It's blue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
there's a tooth.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's attached to a mouth, but
little
there's
heart
definitely a
tattoos
tooth.
that say I heart mum or
No, there's no distinguishing marks on this.
okay. So not like an anchor that says olive in the middle. Nothing like that.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Is there anything I can use to wipe my hands as I put this back down on the slorg?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, wash sink over there.
Excellent. I go to wash my hands. I'm a little surprised you didn't make me see if I was going to go a little more insane.
No, at this point, no. You've already
You got a couple rolls out of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
you had 3 successes on that last one. Plus, to be honest, your courage is pretty high. I don't even think that. Yeah, most of the time, it's probably not going to have any kind of impact on you. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, it's fine.
Plus, it
fine.
gets us familiar with the rules.
Yes, that's the best part. So I wash the disgusting goop of the other dimension off my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And
Anything else that I can help you with? Because I still need to do so much work here before the creature is no longer viable.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I haven't mentioned the smell, Rodrigo.
Oh, I'm sure. Like
It
Dutch
is.
has been very far away from the implements.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
like-
it's pretty rank in here.
Yeah, it's to the point where like Dutch is like gagging a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but he's trying to keep it together.
Yeah, Bug Eater probably is kind of familiar with this. I'm guessing, Bug Eater, you slaughter your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if part of the carcass stays out too long, you know what that smells like, and
Yeah.
this room is starting to smell that way. Well, gentlemen, it's been very enlightening. Thank you. And Doctor, I will hopefully run into you again very soon.
Yes, thank you.
And he shakes your hand that has got gunk on it with your hand that you've already washed.
More goop on the hand, I'm sure. I thank you. I appreciate it. And again, I apologize for taking your time, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Toodaloo.
Toodle pip.
And off you go.
Yep.
And
We
Guido.
leave.
Anybody need to get any fresh air?
Yeah, Dutch is definitely going straight out the door.
Okay. You go down 5 flights. You make it outside. You inhale a lungful of air. Now, you guys have been a group for a while. Do you feel like you know each other well?
We probably know some stuff about each other, but I would say we probably don't know each other super well because
Okay.
I think we have
dudes
that.
don't often open up to each other easily.
Yeah.
Just feels like our most basest,
Like our most superficial stuff we know about.
Yeah.
Right.
because they obviously knew where to find Bug Eater
Yeah.
stuff that's going to be happening
We know
constantly.
that, Dutch loves Betty Grable.
Okay. So you're outside inhaling some clean air.
Ugh.
Inhaling some fresh smoke.
That was fascinating. I mean,
I'm glad you thought so.
there's so much we don't know.
I hope you learned something.
You're standing outside. The wind is blowing. There's a gentle breeze blowing. You're inhaling fresh air and exhaling the bad air.
Mhm.
The shop, garage, whatever appears to be doing things as normal. You can hear traffic from the street, on the other side of the building. This is kind of this back area is kind of opened up. It's a larger area, almost like a parking lot for an office building, which is what it's supposed to look like. So there's plenty of open space here. See some people milling around, but it seems like the day has kind of reached the average point. And then you hear some commotion out at the front of the street.
Uh-oh.
Some yelling and some screaming. And then an explosion. Critical Hit Punch All Nazis is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment and was produced and edited by me, Steven Schleicher. If you would like to get a behind-the-scenes making of this episode, be sure to check out the GM Roundtable Octoon Cthulhu edition over on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Major Spoilers. It is always an interesting and fascinating look at the behind-the-scenes making of this very episode. Sometimes I'm talking with players, sometimes I'm talking with Dr. Bradley Will, but it is fascinating. This week we had a number of patrons who got named as NPCs in this episode. In addition to the already named Brigadier, our very own Ingrid appeared as the Brigadier's secretary. Fisher Millard was the soldier who bummed a cigarette, and Mark Spiker was the good doctor. Thank you all for your continued patronage. And, dear listener, if you would like your name to appear as an NPC in future episodes of Critical Hit, become one of our associate producers at patreon.com/Major Spoilers. Finally, we want you to record yourself doing your very best on Critical Hit and send it to us at podcast@majorspoilers.com, and your voice will join the growing chorus of fans just like Hannah J. or Hannah J., who appeared at the beginning of this week's episode. If you have questions or comments, jump into the Critical Hit Discord channel. You can find a link in the show notes, and joining is always free, and in this day and age, free is always good. Thank you again for listening, and here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2023 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.